Great. Hello, lovely viewers, and welcome back to our cozy corner of YouTube called Survival Shows. Today, we are joined by an amazing guest, James Hyde, who's starring in the upcoming Lifetime movie Danger Lurking Under My Roof. Welcome, and thank you for being here today.
Oh my God! Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate.
Uh,
And James, can you tell us a little bit about your character?
yeah, I mean, we're moving into this. I love how Lifetime movies are shot, where um, we paint a picture of what life is like, and but then underneath there's some darkness that's going on, and I think that he's a family man. He's got a daughter, and he's married, but I think underneath there's a lot of pressure for him to make money, and money is one of the key factors in this that drives him to turn and start to do some of the stuff that he does. But I think it's coming from the pressure of his boss. They create these little these things where families that are struggling, that are in transit, that they could move in with families, maybe in an extra space in the house or whatever. So it's a nonprofit organization that we run, but in the underneath we're kidnapping and girls. So
Yeah. And what initially attracted you to the role?
well, I was on a show for a long time, and it was called Passions. It was on NBC. It ran from 1999 to like 2009. And on that 10-year run, I was a family man. I was a cop, chief of police. It was the moral compass of the show, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But after that, I came back. We ended the show, and my wife and I went to Puerto Rico for a year. We came back, and I said, I want to play different roles and different characters, and so John Murlowski is the producer of this, and I've probably shot now with John 10, 12 movies. And so the way that John and I have a relationship, that he sends over a role, and probably 10 out of 10 I'm going to take it, just because the working relationship that I have with John Murlowski. Such a great guy, shoots great movies. So I've played a wide range of characters with John, and I like playing roles that are, on the surface it's one thing, but then underneath it's completely another. And these are fun to shoot. I mean, they're fast and furious. I mean, sometimes we're shooting these in like 12 days, and so he's a pleasure to work with. He shoots, like I said, he shoots a lot of movies, and he knows the formula. He's got the formula down. So it's always fun to play a character that on the surface is one thing, but underneath he's completely another. So I really enjoy those.
Great. And what do you think makes the action in the movie so special and captivating?
Yeah, well, that Kristi Murdock, she plays my wife, and so I mean, if you look at if you start the movie and you watch the movie from the very beginning, it looks like this beautiful little family that we have, and we're loving, and then things start to take a turn probably in the middle of the movie. But I think that's one of the things that I think that's very special about this movie is that everything is not what it seems. We have to look below the surface to kind of figure out. And then when things start happening, it's everyone's pointing the finger, and then it's like it couldn't be him, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, and then the big moment at the end where we realize that, I don't want to give, I guess, too much away because the movie airs tomorrow night, but
Yes.
it's one of those great stories that, I mean, big headlines here in the United States is, it's about trafficking of kids. And I've played, I've played 3 movies where I'm trying to, Abduction Runs in the Family aired back in 2021. And that was me abducting my child got taken away from me. So I went and I abducted another girl, and it just looked like my daughter, and I raised her. And then of course I get arrested, I go to prison, I come out, and then I try to have a relationship with her and her daughter, and it it didn't work out. And then I did another one, which was a really because I got to look sometime. Done so many of these movies. I'm trying to figure out which one that was, which was a really bad one. Crazy Rich and Deadly, which aired in 2020.
Okay.
That was me, and that was more of a human trafficking instead of a child trafficking. And then Prisoner of Love, where I shot that, and that was me kind of luring young girls like 18, and then I would abduct them and send them off around the world. So shooting these movies is creepy, but they have to be done because we're sending a message that this is going on still today. This is happening right now. And more than what we even believe globally, but more importantly here in the United States. So, there's always things that I always said, if something doesn't look right, then maybe you got to ask questions, and and probe a little bit, because you never know what could be, behind the closed doors. But so it's good. Look, it's fun to shoot these movies. It's a bit creepy in a way, but the one thing is we have to send out these messages to people. And if there is somebody who may be being lured into these things, there are key things that they could look at. There's key things through these movies that they could go, wait a second. I'm being manipulated here or lured into this situation, and there's an alarm that goes off, and maybe they could change the course of their life.
Yeah. Understand.
Yeah.
And what was it like working with the rest of the cast on set?
Yeah, well, Kristi, I had never worked with Kristi before. And so she was, she was amazing. I'm trying to get to, I want to, because, we shoot these movies sometimes, and they don't air, let me see where it is here. And they don't air, but like for a year. So then you're kind of like, you look and you go, oh my God, so Kristi Murdock was the lead. She's amazing. She's shooting a lot of these. Very fresh, very giving, very open. And again, you got to remember, these style of movies, it's almost like you walk up and it's like, oh hey, I'm your wife, or I'm your daughter. And because these type of movies are, they're not, they're low budget, so you got to shoot these with 12 days, fast and furious. And usually what happens with other maybe productions that are a little bit. I shot a series in Monarca in Mexico. The budget's really big, so I flew to Mexico. I met my wife, Reni Azuela. We had a table read. We took notes about the character. So that was a big buildup before we even started shooting. Then we get around the table, we talk about the scene, we maybe improv a scene a little bit.
Yeah.
We don't have that freedom here. So we know what we sign up for when we sign up for. So leave your ego outside, come in, let's do some work and let's get it done. So yeah, and so Alicia Riccardi, she played the mom of the daughter that comes into our house. Really, really good actress. Uh, Amalie Anstedt, which is, I think she's kind of new, but she was really, really good. And then Naomi VanSlyke played a really good character. So yeah, man, you know, and then so yeah, there. I mean, look, if you look down the list, there's great people that we're playing. You know, we're working, but it's also discovery and play while we're doing it, and hopefully,
Yeah.
you know, if you have a scene with somebody like your daughter or your wife or boyfriend or whatever, hopefully you get some chemistry.
Yeah.
And Kristi was very easy to work with, and so I think we have some good chemistry as a husband and wife. You know.
Yeah, great. And what was your favorite scene or moment while filming the movie?
It was the moment where she realizes that that I actually kidnapped and I'm holding my daughter, my own daughter.
Yeah.
So that was that moment where she finally puts two and two together, and we have the scene outside the house, and that was an explosive
Yeah.
scene where everything unravels for him, and she figures everything out, and she realizes truly what kind of a person that I am at that moment. So probably that scene for me
Intense.
was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And what makes this movie special for
Well,
you?
again, I think the story
Yeah.
about it and what it's about is kind of what makes it special. And you know, again, like putting people in positions where, you know, when we, like I said, when we shoot these movies, hopefully somebody could that may be going through something or could be going through something, they could realize something or pick up on something. But I think the special is the message that and how you know, like I said, we play this a certain way, and then nothing seems to be reality. You know, all of it's a facade. You know, this you know, hey honey, how are you? Good morning. All right, I'll see you later. You know, these and how the husband could go so low as to kidnap his own daughter. I mean, but everything revolves around money. And if we all get caught up in things and then being forced into things that you would never do in a million years, but you know, it's all about money and showing how, and this is another great message, is showing how if money is a problem and your thing is just communicate with your wife or whatever and just say, listen, we're hemorrhaging money. We got to do something different or whatever. So, you know, you don't have to go to these drastic measures to survive. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the last question and change of subject. Can you tease something about your next projects?
Well, I don't know if you're aware, but here in
Yeah.
we're on strike,
Yeah.
and So the writers went on strike in May. We followed. So we're like right involved in a strike right now. I do have other things that are coming out, but we don't know the schedule of them per se. I think I have another couple of movies coming out with John. Oh, I have one thing I have is a Christmas movie with Denise Richards. It's coming out on Hulu. Let me give you the name.
Yeah.
It's called, let me see, A Christmas Frequency, I think it's called. Yes, A Christmas Frequency. It was directed by Lindsay Hartley, who I was on the show with Passions. Now she's directing.
Okay.
And stars, who do we got here? Ashley Gordon, who wrote it. Denise Richards, of course, we know, and Jonathan Studdard, and myself. So that's going to be on Hulu in November. It's called A Christmas Frequency. And then, so, we're all here. We're united in the strike. There's so many things that need to be taken care of. I mean, there's AI that people are saying, you're a background actor, you're going to sign off, and then they could scan you, and then they could use you in perpetuity. And AI, as far as taking over the writing, residuals. I mean, residuals off of streaming platforms like Netflix, Amazon, and Apple. There's, back in the strike that we did a long time ago, 2009, I think. That's when the streaming platforms first started. So there was, no one really knew what was going to happen, and now they blew up, and Netflix is they're ginormous. So we have to cut deals for as an actor and a writer. If it stays on the platform, then we have to have money off of that. It can't live on the platform for 10 years and nobody, gets any money, only Netflix. And Netflix doesn't share their data, meaning as a producer, if I'm going to create a show and I'm going to put it up on Netflix, well, they don't give us how many views and all of that. It's very controlled by them. So with that said, I think there's a lot of issues that we're having as far as like, if you're going to get paid for self-tape now, because in my office here, I've created my own studio. I bought the lights. Of course, I bought the tripod, and I can tape right off my iPhone because the quality is so good now. But, we had to, we have to invest in our business. And so anyway, that's what's going on. I'm sure they say it's probably going to go to in January. But it has to be done. And so it's put a damper on work, that's for sure.
Hope everything will be okay.
Yeah. So do I.
And great. Thank you, James, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I so much appreciate it.
And remember that Danger Lurking Under My Roof will premiere Thursday, August 10th on Lifetime channel. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Ciao, Bella. Bye.